All right, Media Day, and we are joined with Montgomery head coach John Bolfing. Coach, you guys had a great year last year. 8-4. Your losses were so close. I mean, you lost to a state semifinalist where you hung with Crosby until the very end. A tough loss to Marshall. Huntsville, you only lost by a couple scores. Talk about your season last year and maybe a little bit about this year, how you might be able to chase down Huntsville, who went undefeated last year in district.
Well, this year for us was a very satisfying year. Of course, it was for a lot of people with everything we went through with all the COVID things and the quarantining and all. But really, our season was made successful, I think, last spring while we were quarantining, while we were out of school. Our kids were working out. We were communicating with them. They were still getting good workouts in whenever they could. As the quarantine stuff was lifted a little bit, they were getting together and throwing, and our offensive linemen were getting together and working on things all of these guys on their own. So there was a lot of self-motivation there. Had a great summer, great attendance during the summer. And then once the season started, we start out with a loss to New Caney Porter, who's a good football team for sure. But our kids bounced back, and we just got better and better each week. We felt like played some good people. Won some big games, lost some close games, some good people, but it was very, very satisfying to the season that we did have. We'd come off our worst season ever the year before at 2-8, and so to bounce back and go 8-4 and beat White House in the first round of the playoffs, and then compete very well against Marshall, Fort Bend Marshall. It was very satisfying. It was a good season for us. We're very proud of our kids, and now of course, off season's begun, and we're looking forward to the upcoming season. Traditionally Huntsville in our district is the team to beat. Obviously, they've been very good for many years. A&M Consolidated has been a team in our district that's traditionally a very good program. But I feel like our entire district is really going to be more competitive this year than even it was last year. I think all 7 teams in our district most of them will be better this year, I feel like. So I think it's going to be very competitive. It was competitive last year as well. There were a lot of good games in our district. But to beat Huntsville, to kind of knock them off the top, we're going to have to improve. They've got good players coming back. They've lost some key players, but the thing about them, they're always going to be outstanding defensively, and they play to their strengths, and they play great defensively, and they control the ball in offense. So we've got our work cut out for us. I'm super proud of the way our kids are working. We tell our kids, you win games in the fall, but what you do in the off season, and our kids are showing up every day, and they're working their tails off, and we feel like we're getting better each and every day, and looking forward to spring practice to kind of see where we're at.
You talk about A&M Consolidated in Huntsville, but Lake Creek there, your guys right down the block there, is it becoming into a natural rivalry? Because they've gotten better every year of their existence here, and is it a deal that it's like must see now, Montgomery against Lake Creek?
Oh, absolutely. From day one, when the school split, the way things were done and all, there was a natural rivalry created. It's a good rivalry. Most of our kids know each other. They grow up playing against each other, whether it be in football, baseball, just hanging out together, whatever. It's a good rivalry. It's a very competitive rivalry, but I think it's, there's a mutual respect between the two programs. I mean, I respect the job that Coach Kennedy and his coaching staff does. Several of those coaches on his staff coached for me here. When the school split, the staff was split. So there's a mutual respect there. But yeah, it's must see on Friday night when Montgomery and Lake Creek play. And then, traditionally we've been playing that the last game of the year. So it's a pretty big deal.
I'm always intrigued by the dynamic of coach and his son, especially at quarterback. You've had 2 of your sons come through, and now Brock had one heck of a year last year, and you got him for his senior year again. What's it going to be? What's it like coaching your son? Does it come back home? Do you coach him a little bit at home, or you leave that stuff on the field, or talk a little bit about that dynamic?
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, it's been a blessing to be able to coach all 3 of them. My oldest one started in 2008, I believe. And so really for the past 13, 14 years or whatever, many of those seasons, about 9 or 10 of them have been with one of my sons a quarterback. So it's an interesting dynamic. They've handled it very, very well from they've just done a great job of being humble and being good teammates and being good leaders. So that's been easy as far as that goes. I coach them at school. I don't coach them at home. We really don't, unless Brock brings it up when he comes home, he wants to talk about it. We really don't talk a whole lot about football at home. We try to keep two separate. I'm the coach at school and I'm the dad at home. And we try to keep it that way. If he wants to talk about it, we'll talk about it. But there's his mother wouldn't tolerate me coaching him up around the dinner table very often. So we try to keep that at school. And I'm dad at home and he's my son at home and he's my player at school. So it's been really good. But it is an interesting dynamic, that's for sure.
That'd be funny at the dinner table. Pass me the biscuits, son. And why didn't you run that slant pass good enough?
Yeah, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen, believe me.
I wouldn't have that. I got you. Hey, talk a little bit about defensively. You got a couple players coming back that were all district type players like Zach Cooper and Leslie Williams got well over 120 tackles on the season. What are they going to mean for you defensively, and especially against a team like Huntsville that kind of brings it to you?
Yes, sir. Zach plays nose guard, can play anywhere along the defensive line. He's just a high motor guy. His motor is always running. He's a very physical player, very, very intelligent player. He's just one of those kids I just call it really good football. He's a great high school football player. He's just self-motivated. Don't have to coach him a whole lot. You tell him what you want him to do, and he does it. And he's an athletic kid too. Leslie, same type player, very intelligent, high motor. He grew up wrestling, so he understands leverage and all that kind of stuff. So he's an excellent tackler, runs well, just a good leader for us. Very intense, very coachable. I mean, they're both just excellent football players. They come all the way up through our system, and like I said, just really, really good high school football players, great leaders, great young men.
Awesome, Coach. Hey, Coach, thanks for joining us, man. We can't wait to see Bear football this fall. Hopefully we have a regular season. We don't have to deal with what we had to deal with last year, but I appreciate you joining us and talking a little 10-5A Division II football.
Well, I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.